He's gone now, smoking pipe proud, emperor of worlds. He was the last great dinosaur hatched from an egg. They say his concrete legs could take the weight of houses, and men believed he had the fury of both world wars stamped into his head. And now at the morn of his grave, men swore they saw the devil battling the bull through his black art realm of flame and coal. And they knew the next fight would be in heaven, for they believed not a god or a devil had the strength to claim his soul. Now the bull was raised on a dog bowl of flint and gristle, a cereal of nuts and bolts to give teeth a crunch. His kin were a Rottweiler lot, mean and unforgiving. He was not so much weaned, but toughened on the teat of a punch. Then they broiled him hard in a pot of trotters and liver, to become them who dig and breathe the dust of borrowed time. For pit deep you will feel the breath of the devil, and you will become that ghastly lung that can phlegm and dredge up a mine. Did you see him? Brazen as a bullet, eyes mean, sighted like guns, triggered in his corner, loaded, ready for the bout to start. A great head that'll peg you down like a mallet, a frostbite of defiance that snaps like twigs the courage of hearts. And to his heart, they say he held his loves caged in his arms, women who melted in the brute of him, and to the Lord they did confess. They say they were caught in a damned euphoria of blasphemy, for all his lover swore his passion was as hot as a napalm's caress. For even God knew his love could explode like a volcano, for there was something dark and molten that ran through his veins. And beware, for you will become contagious with his green-eyed poison, for he will leech you dry and soulless, and boot you black and blue with blame. Did you hear him bellow? I am an explosion, not tended by age, but toughened as a tanner of leather, and I demand the respect of a king's coronation, for to cross me is the threat of unleashing hell of its terror. For the pit tempered him on a beating of anvils, and he came out of those bellows spitting bullets and flames. His skin turned plate and armoured like dillows. His fist was wrought to iron with a grab, they say, of the mightiest cranes. Did you see him? Propped and lamped in his mould-dug hole, he walked with men fathoms deep and drowned from the sun. And there with a heave they shovelled for their bacon, for coal was not loaded by wit, no, it was weighed by the back of a ton. For these core of earth diggers grew paws as boulders, and the jar and vote of them was electric eels times 10. For lads tread they fathers' paths of sorrows and disasters, for the mine swallows boys and coughs them up as spit and sawdust men. Did you hear the bull's boot? Crumbling foundations, the valley's very own superstar, our own mighty Kong. They say he killed a man once with a pin of his eyeballs, fist loaded, and a belt with more impact than a Hiroshima bomb. Then they say he grew horns as he joined the horrendous men, and they tell of a rugby tour at time he beat up the county of Devon. And they say if his knuckles crack and pop, well, the next sound you'll hear, boy, is angels playing harps in heaven. For he can grind bones down to a cud of tripe. He stands a siege engine, holds ground with a cannon of pride. Not forgetting a job that can split through the atom, and there are craters full of busted bones of all those men who've tried. Now, the bull held court every Friday rick and tumble, as men shed off their pelts of muck to bathe again in light, and in a blessed scald of steam they blast all graft asunder, for it is for the swig that blackguards sail for a song of a bottle and fight. For the bull loved the bell of a ringside tipple as he damped down his dust on a gut-rot of swill, and as the bar sways turn ship and tilts, drunken vows come to life of all those men he's sworn to kill. For he monoliths the bar, fists the size of Timbuktu, and as he growls the mood of the pub turns a grizzly bear. And a load of fellows gallop their pints and eject the room as a snorting bull scans the bar for any man who'll bloody dare. And the threat is pitched. Who wants to pick a window? Who wants to see 10 bob of his butt dragged through the glass? Who wants to see stars flying off with their teeth? And what man will slip his clutch and before the world empty out his arse? And just how many bull did you show the four corners? How many men dined on dirt in a desperate search for teeth? How many men now dribble through pancake noses? And how many wives visit their husbands just to lay a reef? But even mountains level, bull, and great kings and sultans fall, gone like the sons of dunes that rise and pass through tides of moons. For gone now is your Waterloo and Culloden, for every warrior will in time need that hall to lick his wounds. And youth campaigns into its own fist of battalions and hammers its own drum of a fierce and brutal song, for the bull's ogre no longer chews rocks on mountains, for youth can tell the silver back no longer beats his chest like Kong. Then aged brittle he rusted in the mould of pub corners, his body knotted in graft and buckled and beaten by blows, and eyes long dead had lost the spark of explosion as the fighter turns to scrap and ruin and reaps the woe he sows. For his mind then slurred drunk in the punches of bedlam, his triumphs though dead kept alive by his ramble of boasts, and he had long lost the reason and faces of his conquest as the bull strangles his pint, spitting and snarling at nothing but ghosts. Ah, but you remember, bull, when you were crowned in horns, and each man would bow an eye with a face that spoke of a bended knee, and they all lauded you the mightiest kraken. All hail, for he is the proudest tsunami since Moses parted the sea. And now dead respect swaves itself in a bunting of black, as men belt down ale and remember your tremendous graft and clout. But there is many a broken man mind will spit at your passing, heads cauliflowered and stitched like quilts, the remnants of your savage rout. And the vicar prayed hard but could not find the words, for God he knew could smell a lie on any brute or bugger's breath, so he settled for. He kept a good fire, and he scuttled his wife tidy, and with his shovel made sure she was never thin, and she died a fat but healthy death. And so those days passed, and men become just the soot of a shadow, legends of valleys and men that turned to dust in a passage of holes. For in bedrock etch the faces of bulls and coal miners, so it is a prayer to a candle for men who burrowed the earth and lived their lives as dark as moles. So the earth pulled him back to its obsidian roots to become fossil and amber with all those men who lost scent of the sky. And if in hell he dwells, well, he'll still find there some pride to plunder. For wherever he lays in death, I believe the bull will never be one to lay down and die.